Okay, just so everyone can see the t-shirt. Okay. Hi everybody, it's Don, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I've seen 2 doctors since my last report out to you when I was reading my results and meeting my last doctor, my oncologist, and unfortunately, things turned out to be worse than I thought they were going to be. Oh look, the Nairobian prince is sending me another email. Boy, he must be desperate to get that riches that his father left him in his will. He just needs $1,000 to be able to access millions, and then he'll give me $1 million. Are you tired of these scam emails and all the spam emails that you get every single day, it seems? Well, there is one way to fight it. Every time you search the web, your information is being collected, and sometimes it's being collected by data brokers. And these data brokers will sell your information to not only companies looking to, sell you a car or sell you a vacuum. They can also be selling it to the dark web. And those people are looking to scam you, to steal your information, to steal your bank account numbers, your credit card numbers, etc. And you want to protect yourself as much as possible from those people especially. So you can just ask those data brokers to take you off the mailing list. It's simple, right? Do you know how to contact a data broker? I don't, but you know who does? Incogni. That's why I signed up with Incogni. You sign up with Incogni, they will check your emails, they will contact the data brokers, and they will have you removed from those systems to not only protect your search engine, cut that down on your spam, protect you from possible scam artists. If you think I'm joking, recently there were over 3 billion people had their information stolen from a data broker on the dark web. Not million, billion people. So by using Incogni, I'm getting myself off those mailing lists, and guess what? I've already seen a huge reduction in my spam email as well. So why not hit my link down below or the QR code right here, and you can get up to 60% off your annual subscription. I'm glad I did, and I'm sure you will be too. So the last time I brought up my test results, I mentioned that I had some nodules that had grown from 4 centimeters to 6 centimeters, and that they were pretty deep in my lungs, and I wasn't even knowing if they would be able to do surgery or not, if I'm going to need chemo or anything. Well, my doctor sent out the request to 2 different doctors, my lung doctors that I had before, the lung surgeons, and the radiation specialist. Well, they both got back to me pretty fast. My lung doctor got me, called me right away, sent me for a breathing test where I had to go in and I had to prove that my lungs were capable of withstanding another surgery. Remember, I've had 3 lung surgeries already. And they said, I went in for that. Now, in my mind, I went, this is good news, because why would they send me on a breathing test if they didn't think I could do the surgery, right? If they didn't think it was possible to do surgery. So that was okay. That was a good thing in my mind. And so I did the breathing test, and apparently I passed with flying colors. They said currently I had the lung capacity of a 30-year-old, which was amazing to me. They said, no, I guess non-smoking, all the steps I do every single day really have kept my lungs in good shape. And I can walk up and down stairs now. The loss of weight helps. So I was in good position, I thought. And my doctor called, and I was supposed to see my lung specialist on the 10th of this month, and then my radiologist on the 8th of this month. But there was a cancellation for the lung doctors, and I was able to get in on Monday morning. So I went in Monday morning and saw the specialist, and I found out at that point that remember I mentioned there are some spots on my left lung as well as my right, but they didn't seem to be too worried about it. Well, she was worried about it. And she mentioned that I would, if they're going to do the surgery, they're going to do both. And it would start off by they have to do the right lung first because it was the most severe. And then after 4 to 6 weeks recovery, I would be doing my left lung. So I heard about that. And then she said, of course, you cannot fly, which was devastating news to me. Because she was talking about possibly getting me in at the end of the week or the beginning of next week. And I went into my head and I went, all these things I've got planned. I have 2 Mediterranean cruises. I have the Paris trip. I have my Africa trip, all planned within the next 90 days. And so I was a little devastated with that. And then she kind of said to me, you know what, have you talked to the radiologist first? And I said, no, I'm supposed to see him on the 8th. He says, well, why don't we set up to have the surgeries and get the ball rolling, and you can see if you can, talk to the radiologist in the meantime. But she says they may make your appointment to get this tube inserted into my lung, like a metal tube, at which point I can't turn away from the surgery. Once that little metal tube gets inserted, the surgery is within a day or two of that. So I can't just say, okay, take that metal tube out. No, that's not how things work. So I said, okay, no problem. And then I went down right away to the cancer clinic here in Ottawa, and I went and I said, can I get in to see my radiologist? And there was a cancellation on Tuesday, but my scheduled time was 30 minutes and the cancellation scheduled time was 15 minutes. And so I had to call all these different nurses and everything to try and get in. Finally, a very nice young lady who was working the counter at the module that I had to go into at Module A at the Ottawa General Hospital was on top of it. And she called me in the morning. She said, look, when the doctors get in here, I'm going to ask one of them if it's possible to move you, because the nurses have to wait for the doctor's approval for all this. And if they don't get back to them, then they can't. And she made it happen, and I got in to see the radiologist. And here's where the news got even worse for me, because I knew about the main spot on my right lung here. I knew about the spot here on my left lung. Now I found out about 1 centimeter away from here is on my right lung is another spot, very, very small, but it's there. And it's showing up as a dark spot on the scans. And my lung doctor said in their report when looking at it that they can't go in. Well, it was the lung doctor and the person who are monitoring, like the team kind of thing, monitoring the results. They said right in that report, he showed me the report saying that they can't do that one. And he wasn't quite sure why they couldn't do that one. It's only 1 centimeter away from where the other one is, but it's very close to the aorta. Even he said, here's your options for radiation, he said. First off, he can do both. He can do all 3, no matter what. The left one, no problem. He said it's in a good spot. He can dose it with radiation. He says probably about a 95% chance, if not higher, that that's going to disappear and get everything gone, but just like it did last time. I said, great. However, this one on the right is so close to vital organs and that he can't go in with a heavy dose of radiation. He has to dial it back, which he says, I'd like to be cautious and say it's probably an 80% chance of success rate from that. So I went, well, crap, if you know what I mean. And he says the other one that's lower, it's a little further out. So yes, there should be no problem with that one. And it's a smaller area. I said, okay. So that left me with my choices. I can go for the surgery. And I discussed it with him and he said, 80%. And the first question I asked was, if we go in and do the radiation, will that harm my chances if this starts to grow again in the future of having that future surgery? And they said yes, because of the type of surgery it is, where they have to go in with an insert and a tube, etc., because it's not on the outside, it's on the inside of the lung, then with the scarring tissue that would happen from the radiation, it might make it almost impossible for them to go in and do the surgery at that point. And then we'd have to try radiation again. And if there's only an 80% chance this time, the chances would be lower the following time. So that kind of made my mind up. That I said, okay, all right. So he's going to get together with my lung doctor. I've kind of told him my answer already, and they're going to make the decision. I think the way it's going to work out. But I said, if you ask them, with the radiation, will that stop me from being able to have this operation in the future? If they say yes, then it's surgery. I'm doing surgery for sure. No doubt about it. So I'm hoping now that within a week or so, I get a call to go in and I'm ready for surgery. They seemed like they were going to get ready to try and do this as quickly as possible. Like I said, I went in for my breathing test on, I believe it was like a late, was it Friday or Saturday? And on Monday morning, the doctor had called, on Sunday, the doctor had called to make me an appointment. Pretty quick, I thought. Great service, again, from my physicians here in the Ottawa General Hospital. No complaints about my doctors at all. So not only do I have to have one lung surgery, now I have to have 2 lung surgeries, which will make a total of 10 cancer surgeries since 2017. Woo, 8 years, 10 surgeries. Thought I was done with this. And if they don't go get that other spot on my right lung, if they can't do it, then another dose of radiation treatment to get rid of that spot. But the good news out of all that is if we get the surgery done as quickly as possible, it seems like everything will be done in time for me to at least be able to keep making all of my group cruises that I planned for this year, starting with the Alaska cruise in July. There's plenty of time. There's lots of leeway in between for complications, etc. So I'm hoping that, that all works out. And if I'm extremely lucky and things go well, then my Africa trip can still happen. But I've canceled 2 Mediterranean cruises today. I called Jordan about from Royal Caribbean. I was going on her Paris group trip with her, and I texted her today, gave her the news, apologizing that I won't be able to get there, and saying I really wish I could get there, and I was hoping to meet her and share stories. And she's been following my trauma since I announced it as well, so she was kind of aware of the situation anyway. Wish me all the best. She's an absolute sweetheart. So I'm hoping, down the road, we'll get together at another event someplace down the road, I'm sure. And there's many cruises to come in the future. But as always, I always promise people that I will, let everybody know what's happening with me, so they're not too worried. But there you go. 2 more surgeries look like they're on the horizon. Could be as early as the end of this week, beginning of next week. It depends. When I get that call, they're just going to say, come on in, and that'll be it. So I'll be ready for that. And again, guys, I don't always answer the emails, but especially on these type of videos, I read the vast majority of them, and my niece goes through them. And I really do appreciate all the support you guys have given me out there through all of these times. Again, really do appreciate it. It means all the world to me, and it's kept me going this long. And I don't expect it to not keep me going way into the future. So yeah, in the meantime, I hope you appreciate this update. If you did, maybe give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't, maybe hit the subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.